We're now on the other side of the mountain. Next step, how do we reopen?
Unpause New York. Parts of the state are set to reopen this week. The holdup here at home. New cases of a rare and deadly illness impacting children in the tri-state. The president is now talking about the story the I-Team first broke. Plus, spring storms with hail and wind. When they clear out and how soon we'll see 80 degrees. Good evening, I'm Chuck Scarborough.
And I'm Natalie Pasquarello. We start with breaking news on Staten Island. At least 3 people we found out were shot in the Mariners Harbor section. We want to show you this video coming in from our Citizen app where police are on scene at Grandview Avenue. Sources tell News 4 2 of the victims right now are in critical condition. We're told that a person of interest was taken into custody at the scene. Of course, we'll bring you any updates as they happen. Let's get to this pivotal week for New York in the coronavirus fight, and it is starting pretty strong. All major indicators are down, and for the first time since March 26th, the number of daily deaths dropped below 200 to 161 people. The statewide pause order ends this Friday, but only 3 regions will meet the governor's 7 metrics for reopening. Our area does not meet those metrics. You see that we did meet 4 of the 7 metrics in New York City, 5 out of 7 for Mid-Hudson as well as Long Island. The biggest problems here, though, the infection rate is still too high, and we need more hospital beds to be empty. All of the major indicators are down in New York City. The field hospital at the Billie Jean King Center will no longer be used as one of the quarantine sites, returning to the U.S. Tennis Association in just a few weeks. The city says 8,000 homeless New Yorkers are now isolating in hotel rooms. Alternate side parking will resume for a week for street cleaning next Monday. All right, a lot to take in right now. Let's head over to News 4's Andrew Siff live on the Upper West Side with the latest for us, Andrew.
Hi, Natalie. What this means is step by step, New Yorkers are going to notice some changes. For example, people who park their car on the street and haven't had to move it in a couple of months, while alternate side parking resumes next week. And as you indicated, parts of the state reopening just days from now. Parts of upstate now have the green light.
Some regions are ready to go today.
That includes cities like Ithaca and Rochester, where hospitalizations are so low, curbside businesses can reopen Friday. Not the case in New York City. What is your understanding of the earliest date New York City non-essential businesses could reopen?
It's fair to say that June is when we're potentially going to be able to make some real changes if we can continue our progress.
But the mayor did make this assessment about the fall.
As of this moment, we believe we can reopen schools safely and well in September.
No, we're not ready at this point, no.
Mike Mulgrew of the Teachers Union told me reality may look a lot different. Imagine 1.1 million kids alternating between going to school one day, then online learning the next. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, we're thinking a whole different style of instruction, which we're calling the hybrid instructional style, where we're taking part of it will be in person, and then part of it will be remote.
From alternate days of attendance to alternate side parking, another familiar staple for New Yorkers. Suspended for nearly 2 months as a way to keep people at home, back for a 1-week city streets cleanup next week.
Oh, no!
Car owner Erica Cagney not happy about that, but she's hoping the temporary rule requiring her to move her car may mean a more recognizable life will return.
I feel like it'll be a slow summer, and I'm just hopeful that once we do start slowly reopening stuff, the numbers don't spike again. So we're just trying to be patient.
Back live now, you see that sign, Tuesdays and Fridays, 11 to 12:30, no parking. That familiar alternate side returning for 1 week in New York City and then suspended again for 2 weeks after that. We're live on the Upper West Side. Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.
All right, Andrew, thank you. Well, storms are racing across the tri-state at this hour. Time-lapse video shows one of those storms rolling right over Manhattan earlier this afternoon. Storm Team 4 meteorologist Janice Huff is tracking them for us. Janice.
Hi, Chuck. Yes, we still have a few out there in the tri-state and on the Storm Tracker 4 to show you. So some of you getting some downpours and some of you getting a bit of lightning, even hail. We had lots of hail reports today, too. But they're really scattered around. In some areas, the sun's out right now. Here's a look at live Storm Tracker 4 to show you they're pretty spotty. To the north of the city, though, is where we're seeing most of the rain. This shower is weakening now as it moves over Lawrence Harbor, past Old Bridge, moving towards Middletown with much lighter rain than what we saw even 20 minutes ago. This is the storm that moved over Manhattan. That's the same one. Well, now it's over Nassau County, moved over Hicksville and Oyster Bay, and headed towards east or western Suffolk County. Looks like it's weakening too. So is this cluster of showers up towards Ramapo, moving towards Clarkstown and Haverstraw. All right, these showers will move on out. The atmosphere will stabilize as we go through the night, and the cold air comes right back. More record lows are possible Tuesday morning and Wednesday morning, then a big warm up this weekend and even more storms. I've got your 10-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, Janice, thank you. Can't wait for that 80-degree day to come. The president's now addressing a story the I-Team was the first to tell you about. More children in New York are coming down with a rare illness possibly linked to COVID-19. As many as 93 children have been hospitalized with that illness. 3 of them have died. 2 more cases are under investigation. News 4 Government Affairs reporter Melissa Russo has been staying on top of this troubling development. She joins us from the newsroom now with all the new details. Melissa?
Chuck, the condition is relatively rare, but still very scary. Every day now we're learning about more of these cases, what pediatricians are describing as an immune system overreaction to COVID-19. It can affect blood pressure and the heart with sometimes deadly consequences, even in kids who have no underlying health issues. In pediatric intensive care units throughout the area, a rising number of very sick children, challenging our initial hope that for the most part, our kids were not at risk.
Well, children aren't affected. Oh, really? That's another fact that they're going to change on us.
The subject coming up for the first time at the White House today.
It is a very, very small percentage, and people recover from that. The children recover from that. Right?
Yeah, yes, sir. Most do recover from this. It is a small percentage, but it is quite frightening.
New York State now confirming the number of children diagnosed with life-threatening COVID-related inflammatory illness is up to at least 93, with as many as 5 children in New York State dying as a result.
A 7-year-old boy died last week at Westchester Medical Center's Children's Hospital, which has treated 14 children for this, not counting some who've showed up in just the past few hours.
And there are 1 or 2 more in our emergency now being evaluated.
More Westchester parents coming in and calling since local officials started warning families, according to Chief Doctor Michael Gewertz.
We've seen a bump in both the number who are coming to the emergency room, a small bump, but more in terms of the number who call and want to have a discussion, and that's good.
We want to keep reminding parents and family members to look out for these symptoms and act quickly.
Symptoms can include fever, usually for several days, rash, abdominal pain, change in skin color, and rapid heartbeat.
My heart was racing. It was scary. I didn't think I was gonna make it out the same, if at all.
14-year-old Jack McMorrow of Woodside was afraid he might not survive. When he went into the hospital, the illness didn't have a name. When he came out 10 days later, it did.
We're calling it pediatric multisystem inflammatory syndrome. It's a mouthful.
And the Centers for Disease Control is now paying attention.
The CDC is interacting actively with the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit network to create case definitions and to understand how this is going and if there are predispositions.
Again, though, pediatric experts who have treated dozens of these children on the front lines have been telling me for a couple of weeks now that most, if not all, of these children who become very sick did not have known underlying medical conditions other than exposure to COVID-19, and they're not sure exactly what triggers this response in some children, but not in others. Natalie?
All right, Melissa, thank you. You're talking about this. Connecticut is also confirming new cases of pediatric multisystem inflammatory syndrome. Governor Ned Lamont says he's aware of 3 cases right now at Yale New Haven Hospital. And he also gave us an update on coronavirus in the state. More than 3,000 people sadly have died from this virus. More than 33,000 tested positive. The governor says despite 41 new deaths being reported, the number of positive COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations keeps dropping across the state. In New Jersey now, all daily indicators keep trending down as cases approach 140,000. The number of deaths has hit 9,310. Now, this comes as the state is now allowing anyone to be tested at 2 FEMA sites, whether they have symptoms or not. One in Paramus, the other in Holmdel. The only 2 in the state right now. Let's get over to News 4's Brian Thompson, live in Hoboken with the latest. Hi, Brian.
Yeah, Natalie, and how many times have you heard testing, testing, testing? In Maplewood, for example, the former mayor, still on the committee, the council committee, is saying everybody in town should get tested. Well, what we're seeing in Holmdel, what we're seeing in Paramus, and what we're about to see here in Hoboken is kicking that testing up to a whole new level. These nightmare traffic jams, this Paramus, at the state's 2 testing centers a month or so ago, no more. Driving into the sister Holmdel site this morning for the first day of no questions asked COVID testing was a breeze. In and out in an hour. Doctors on board with testing as many as possible.
If it is readily available, they should. There's no harm in it.
No harm.
No harm in it, no.
Holmdel and Paramus will alternate days. Testing now available at nearly 100 locations in New Jersey. Governor Murphy saying it's key to reopening.
We've got to have that testing and tracing protocol infrastructure in place that you all can look at and say, you know, I believe that.
In Newark, the city continues testing its homeless populations. 3 new sites open to all in the city. And in Jersey City, asymptomatic testing has begun now right next to the main firehouse. Hoboken has been going to senior housing to test its residents, finding roughly 10 seniors positive but asymptomatic. And Prompt MD got its hands on this machine used in South Korea's successful program, both for the virus and antibodies, open to Hoboken residents in the next few days.
I think so. We have learned a lot from the last 2 months, and we are only going to get better.
The doctor offered the test to me, a finger prick, and 10 or so minutes later,
results are negative for both.
No COVID.
No COVID.
No antibodies.
No antibodies.
So I haven't had it.
At all.
There is, of course, a sense of relief when you hear those words, but Dr. Islam made one very strong point. You could still get it the next day, the virus. Live in Hoboken, Brian Thompson, News 4 New York.